every single McDonald's hamburger has a story. A story that begins far away from the Golden Arches and goes through an incredible journey before it lands in your hands. Today, we're going to explore the extraordinary process of how McDonald's hamburgers are made, from the humble beginnings of their raw ingredients to the sizzling final product. It's a journey that involves innovation, precision, and a touch of history, all coming together to create one of the most iconic foods of modern times. Let's take a step back in time to understand where it all began. McDonald's wasn't always the global fast food powerhouse we know today. In 1940, two brothers, Richard and Maurice McDonald, opened a small drive-in restaurant in San Bernardino, California. Their vision was simple: serve quality food fast. In those early days, hamburgers weren't the industry-defining item they are now. It wasn't until Ray Kroc joined the team in 1954 and expanded McDonald's into a franchise model that the humble hamburger became a symbol of consistency, efficiency, and flavor. It wasn't just a meal. It became an experience, one that millions around the world associate with childhood memories, road trips, and the comforting familiarity of the Golden Arches. So, how does McDonald's ensure that every hamburger tastes the same, whether you're grabbing a bite in Texas or New York City? It all starts with the sourcing of the raw ingredients. McDonald's prides itself on using 100% pure beef for its patties. That's right, no fillers, no preservatives, just beef. But not just any beef will do. The company works with suppliers who meet rigorous standards to ensure the highest quality. These suppliers source cattle raised on farms across the United States, adhering to strict guidelines for animal welfare and sustainability. The beef must have the right balance of fat and lean meat, which is crucial for creating that juicy, flavorful patty we all know and love. Once the cattle are raised and the beef is harvested, it's transported to state-of-the-art processing facilities. This is where the magic begins. At these facilities, the beef is inspected, trimmed, and ground to the perfect consistency. The grinding process is a marvel of modern engineering. Large cuts of beef are passed through industrial grinders that ensure a consistent texture, eliminating any guesswork. After grinding, the beef is shaped into patties using high-speed machinery that forms each patty to the exact specifications of McDonald's iconic burgers. These machines work with incredible precision, churning out thousands of patties an hour, each one identical in size and shape. But we're not done yet. The patties are then flash frozen to lock in their freshness and flavor. This step is critical because it ensures that the patties maintain their quality from the moment they leave the factory to the time they're cooked on the grill. Flash freezing involves rapidly lowering the temperature of the patties to preserve their natural juices, making sure every bite is as satisfying as the last. Once frozen, the patties are packaged and sent to distribution centers, where they're stored in temperature-controlled environments before being delivered to McDonald's restaurants around the country. Now let's talk about the other essential components of the hamburger, starting with the buns. McDonald's buns are just as important as the beef patties. They're soft, fluffy, and slightly sweet, providing the perfect complement to the savory beef. The journey of a McDonald's bun begins with high-quality wheat. This wheat is grown in fields across the U.S., harvested, and milled into flour. The flour is then sent to specialized bakeries that work exclusively for McDonald's. Here, the dough is mixed, proofed, and baked to perfection. The buns are sliced and packaged before being shipped to McDonald's locations, ensuring they arrive fresh and ready to serve. Of course, no hamburger is complete without its toppings. The lettuce, tomatoes, and onions used in McDonald's burgers are sourced from farms that follow strict quality standards. The lettuce is crisp and fresh, the tomatoes are ripe and juicy, and the onions add just the right amount of zing. These vegetables are carefully grown, harvested, and transported to processing facilities where they're washed, sliced, and packaged. The attention to detail here is astounding. Every slice of tomato and piece of lettuce is checked to make sure it meets McDonald's exacting standards. Now, let's address one of the unsung heroes of the McDonald's hamburger, the pickles. These tangy slices are made from cucumbers that are brined in a special solution to achieve their signature flavor. The pickles add a burst of acidity that perfectly balances the richness of the beef and the sweetness of the bun. Once all the ingredients are ready, they're sent to McDonald's restaurants, where the final assembly takes place. At the restaurant, the patties are cooked on flat-top grills. The grilling process is an art in itself. The patties are cooked to precise temperatures to ensure they're juicy and flavorful, and they're seasoned with a simple sprinkle of salt and pepper. While the patties are grilling, the buns are toasted to enhance their flavor and texture. This step might seem small, but it makes a big difference in the overall experience of the burger. The assembly process is where everything comes together. The toasted bun is placed at the bottom, followed by the cooked patty. Then comes a dollop of ketchup and mustard, a couple of pickles, and a slice of fresh onion. Finally, the top bun is placed, completing the burger. Each burger is wrapped or boxed with care, ensuring it stays warm and intact until it reaches the customer. What makes this entire process so remarkable is the consistency. Whether you're in Los Angeles or Chicago, your McDonald's hamburger will taste the same, thanks to the meticulous attention to detail at every step of the journey. This consistency is no accident. It's the result of decades of refinement and innovation. But McDonald's isn't just about making great food, it's also about doing it responsibly. The company is committed to sustainability, from the farms where its ingredients are grown to the factories where they're processed. McDonald's works with suppliers who use eco-friendly farming methods, such as crop rotation and water conservation. The factories that produce the patties and buns are designed to minimize waste and energy consumption, making the process as efficient as possible.
Hey folk, let me ask you one question. How much do you really know about Nutella? You know it's delicious, of course. You've probably spread it on toast, used it to top pancakes, or, let's be honest here, eaten it by the spoonful straight from the jar. But have you ever stopped to wonder how this jar of pure delight actually makes it to your table? The journey starts far from the shelves of your local grocery store. It begins in the fields. Cocoa pods ripening under the sun, hazelnuts being harvested, sugar beets dug up from the earth. Today, we're peeling back the layers and diving into the entire process, from cocoa pod to Nutella jar. So grab a snack and stick around. We're about to explore how this fan-favorite spread goes from farm to factory and finally into your hands. We will begin our journey at the cocoa plantations. Cocoa, it's possible that you've heard it wrong. Although most of us are familiar with it as an ingredient in chocolate, few of us have ever seen the actual production process. Imagine a forest of verdant, tropical trees, each one clustered with a plethora of golden cocoa pods. Using their machetes as if they were an extension of their arm, skilled laborers systematically traverse the fields. They are exceedingly precise, picking only the ripest pods and letting the rest ripen to perfection. Working with cocoa pods, which contain the seeds that will grow into beans, is a physically demanding and time-sensitive process. The flavor of your Nutella actually starts with these seeds. Workers carefully load up big baskets with the harvest, taking care not to break any pods along the way. The following phase starts after they have collected a haul. On the way to the processing factory, the workers check each basket full of pods to make sure they are still of the highest quality. The first transition occurs when the pods arrive at the processing plant. In order to remove any dirt, leaves, or other impurities that may have accompanied them from the farm, they are spread out on tables and scrubbed clean by either humans or machines. The delicate cocoa flavor could be ruined if any contaminants are introduced at this critical stage. When the pods start to shine, it's time to open them. Workers carefully crack open each pod using sharp instruments, exposing rows of shiny, wet cocoa beans enclosed by a gooey, white pulp. The beans still don't resemble chocolate in any significant way. They resemble soft, chewy seeds at the moment. The secret to Nutella's famous flavor is actually inside these beans, so don't be deceived. Scooping out the beans from the pods is the next step. Although this step requires a lot of manual labor, every bean is important. The objective is straightforward. Preserve the integrity of each and every useful seed while extracting it. The beans are sorted after they are free to make sure only the best ones move on to the next step. The ones that make it through the inspection can be dried now. The air drying process, which is gradual and steady, will now begin. You would be correct in picturing these beans being baked in the scorching sun. The beans are spread out on huge drying platforms and allowed to soak up the heat. Not only will this make them dry, but it will also bring out their natural flavor. As they dry, the beans lose water, which concentrates their chocolatey flavor. Depending on the weather and the unique requirements of each batch, this procedure can take days or even longer. The beans are ready for quality testing when they are completely dried. Professionals step in at this point. They listen for the sound of cracked beans in addition to size, color, and scent when evaluating beans. After each bean is examined, it is placed aside and marked for the next stage of the process. However, batches are either reprocessed or rejected if they do not fulfill the stringent quality standards. No bean will do unless it meets the exacting standards of Nutella. Now that everything is in order, the beans can be roasted. Things begin to smell absolutely lovely at this point. Imagine enormous roasters, turning the beans gently to get an even roast while maintaining high temperatures. The objective is to accentuate the robust flavor that will underpin the chocolatey Nutella flavor. After roasting is finished, the beans are passed through a machine that removes the cocoa nibs from the husks. The process revolves around the nibs, which are the raw materials used to make cocoa powder. To effectively eliminate the husks while preserving the nibs, the separating process must be meticulous. Accurately striking this equilibrium requires high-tech equipment. The nibs that have been separated are gathered and prepared for their subsequent metamorphosis. Prior to delving into that topic, it is important to mention that the entirety of the cocoa bean is utilized, even the husks, which can be transformed into alternative goods. Effort is not wasted. The nibs can be separated and ground into a fine powder now. The chocolate taste basis that will become Nutella's soul is this powder. Not any powder, though. It takes a lot of skill to grind cocoa nibs. To achieve a fine, smooth texture, the nibs are first ground several times after being broken down into smaller pieces. Extracting the cocoa butter from the nibs is the first step in making a thick, rich powder that may be mixed with other ingredients. This is the second round of quality checks on the powder, during which we measure its uniformity, flavor, and texture. It is returned to the grinding table for a second attempt if it fails. After it's just right, it's put in a bag and put aside until it meets the other Nutella stars: milk, sugar, and hazelnuts. The sugar beet farms are our next stop, so let's change topics. Sugar is a key ingredient in Nutella, but it's easy to forget that the spread wouldn't be the same without it. After removing them from the ground and shaking off any leftover dirt, farmers harvest tons of sugar beets. After harvesting, the beets are taken to a processing facility to undergo cleaning, cutting, and shredding. Fascinatingly, all parts of the beet are utilized in this process, whether it's for sugar or other byproducts. There is a lengthy process that begins with shredding the beets and ends with boiling and centrifuging the liquid to separate the sugar crystals from the pulp. Nutella goes through extensive quality testing before any sugar is added, making ensuring the sugar is completely pure, free of any impurities that could change the texture or flavor of the end result is the main objective. The mixing stage is reserved for the finest sugar. All right, let's move on to milk. A lot of credit for Nutella's velvety consistency goes to the high-quality milk that went into making it. Where the cows are fed and cared for properly is where the milk comes from. There will always be plenty of Nutella-quality milk from these cows because they are bred to produce a lot of milk. Transporting the milk to a facility for testing ensures it satisfies all regulations once it is collected. We will reject anything that even slightly tastes odd or seems contaminated. Milk is processed into milk powder after it passes all tests. This powder is then combined with the other ingredients. Collecting and preparing hazelnuts. Without a doubt, hazelnuts are the most recognizable Nutella component. The finest hazelnuts are plucked in the late summer from Turkish orchards. Ripe hazelnuts fall to the ground as a result of machinery gently shaking the trees. The next step is to collect the nuts, sort them, and then send them to the processing plant. The hazelnuts are roasted to bring out their rich, nutty flavor after being cleaned to remove any impurities. Only the finest hazelnuts are selected for further inspection after roasting. At last, they are ground into a paste that will give Nutella its rich, nutty flavor. Unfortunately, palm oil is essential to Nutella's velvety smoothness, despite its undeserved negative reputation. Produced from sustainably farmed palm fruits, Nutella's palm oil is a secret ingredient. Before pressing the fruits to extract their oil, they are sanitized to kill any bacteria. Before it's mixed with Nutella, this oil is filtered and refined to make sure it's top-notch. Combine all of the ingredients at once. The hazelnut paste, cocoa powder, sugar, and milk powder are mixed in big industrial mixers. The meticulous mixing process gives Nutella its signature silky smooth texture by allowing all of the ingredients plenty of time to blend together. Technicians watch the blending process closely at every stage to make sure the consistency is perfect, which might take hours. To achieve perfection, every parameter is precisely controlled, including temperature, mixing speed, and even room humidity. Once all the ingredients are in the mixer, cocoa powder, hazelnut paste, sugar, milk powder, and the all-important palm oil, what happens next is pure culinary chemistry. The ingredients don't just mix together right away, it's a process, carefully timed and executed to create that signature creamy texture Nutella is famous for. The mixer starts off slow, blending everything together in stages. First, the dry ingredients are fully incorporated, ensuring that there are no lumps or inconsistencies in the powder. This is where attention to detail is key. Too fast, and the mixture becomes too dense. Too slow, and it won't blend properly. After the initial mixing, the process ramps up. Now it's all about refining the texture. The mixture is continuously stirred and whipped with the goal of achieving that iconic smoothness. Machines are constantly monitoring the consistency to make sure there are no gritty bits and that the spread remains light and silky. The temperature is carefully controlled as well, ensuring that none of the ingredients overheat or separate. During this phase, secret ingredients are added, small touches that give Nutella its unique flavor profile. These are tightly guarded by the company, so we can only speculate what might go in. But once those are added, the mixture is stirred for hours until it reaches the perfect consistency. By now, it's not just a collection of ingredients, it's Nutella, ready to be jarred and enjoyed. Now that the Nutella has reached its final form, it's time to package it up. This part of the process is mesmerizing to watch. Picture huge vats of Nutella being funneled into a network of automated machines, each one responsible for filling those iconic jars. The machinery is precise. Each jar is filled to the exact same level, with no spills or excess. As the jars pass down the conveyor belt, they're quickly capped with airtight lids to lock in the freshness. The lids are then sealed to preserve the flavor and keep out any unwanted air. This is crucial because Nutella's texture and flavor can change if exposed to the wrong conditions. The next step is quality control. As the jars whiz by, workers and machines alike are on the lookout for any imperfections. Whether it's a jar that wasn't filled enough, a lid that wasn't properly sealed, or a label that's out of place, those jars are quickly pulled from the line to be reprocessed. The remaining jars continue their journey, ready to be labeled. With the jars now sealed, it's time for labeling and distribution. Automated machines print the famous Nutella labels and apply them to each jar with precision. The labels are more than just decoration. They contain vital information like the expiration date, nutritional facts, and a barcode that will track each jar on its journey from the factory to the store. After labeling, the jars are boxed up and prepared for shipping. Depending on the destination, they might be packed into crates, loaded on. It has been enjoyed by humans since the 9th century, right? It's incredible to think that this popular beverage, which is present in almost every home today, has such a long and storied past.